You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about rebuilding your life. Things are going to happen, right? We're going to have financial crises. We're going to have breakups. We're going to have health conditions. We're going to have so many things that will come our way that are devastating and really sometimes take us to our knees, and we have to rebuild our life and find our strength again, oftentimes within ourselves or the family and friends that surround us. So how do we rebuild our life? And so that's our focus today. If you have a question, feel free to call in. That number is 800-333-0001. I'll be standing by taking your call. Also, if you'd like to hear today's show again, make sure that you check us out on Alexa if you have that in your home, or go to your app store. You can hear us on the go, or just go to livingfullout.com. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you. Also, you want to stay tuned for our next segment. We're going to be joined by David Hoffman. He's a documentary filmmaker who's going to share with us the loss that he had to go through and really rebuilding his life after his home burnt down in 2008. So it's a very touching story, yet inspiring. I know he's going to give us a lot to think about and be able to apply to our own lives. Now, the thing is we all have a story. And if you have one that you would like to share with our community that would motivate us, empower us, we'd like to hear from you. Again, that email to send your story to is connect@livingfullout.com, connect@livingfullout.com, and perhaps we can have you on as a guest. So I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you? Yes.
I have a question. What would be the best way to discipline or speak to a rebellious teenager?
They're fun, aren't they? Those rebellious teenagers. I think that the best thing that you want to do is try to reason as much as you can. But sometimes you have to always remember that they're a kid. They only have so much maturity within them. They only know what they know at the age they're at. But I think you want to look at trying to be as relatable as you can. Are you the parent?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't want to lose track of your parent role, right? You don't want to become the friend. You want to make sure that you're the parent and keeps those boundaries in play. But sometimes knowing that you were them once, knowing that you had a friend one time who was like them, try and find some way to have a common thread so it doesn't feel like, like you don't relate to their situation. And you might try to find the best learning method for them. So is your child more of a visual learner, or are they more scholastic, or, how do they take in information?
I believe it's visual.
Okay.
But it's kind of difficult when they just want to play video games and
actually,
even
that's
trying
great.
to take away. Excuse me?
Well, so that's actually it's a positive. It's a positive. So you want to consider two things. You might take your own time to go on YouTube, search for other rebellious teenagers who maybe are acting out or did act out like your teenager is. And maybe you can just kind of subtly send your rebellious teenager some videos, kind of check out what happened to this person. I don't want this to be you. Or maybe just videos to inspire them during this hard time. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's no way in the world I would want to go back in time and be a teenager again. It's tough.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I literally would never want to be a teenager again. So you want to kind of have empathy for what they're going through. They have all that social media pressure, bullying, and you name it. So figuring out why they're being rebellious and finding motivational videos online that you can either text them or email them that will kind of give them that comfort. And lastly, if their passion falls into video games, into that creative spirit. Celebrate that. Take what seems rebellious, take what seems outrageous, and consider with your teenager, what are some careers that they could have where they could do what they love? You may not know that. I may not know that, but wouldn't that be fun to explore? So now they're taking what they think is rebellious, but yet, wow, here they are stepping towards a career that's not unhealthy or toxic, but one that they could actually make money at and be successful at. So just kind of helping them look at these actions that they're doing in not a negative light, but what could be the positive of that. Okay. So lots to think about, but I would definitely consider all those options. Call us back and let us know how it goes if you need more support. But otherwise, we believe in you. You're a great parent. Love that you're calling in, and just let us know how we can support you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
calling
much.
in. So I appreciate that she's looking at her teenager and how can I stop him or her from spiraling out of control? That's a great parent. Now we're getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
Yeah, I had a question about something that's going on with me. So right now I'm working a part-time job at a movie theater. And the issue I'm having with, they're giving me the hours of a full-time job, something that I didn't hire or sign up for. And it's taking time away from my passion, which is film. And I want to focus on that hobby and make it a career sometime in the future. So I just want to know if there's any way I can fix my time management or try to fix how I can schedule my time during the day so I can find room for it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you want to work full-time for the movie theater? Like all these hours they're giving you, do you want to do this?
No, I really don't. I just do it.
You really don't?
To get an income.
Right,
Yeah.
but do you need to work full-time or could you work part-time?
I can't work full-time because I'm also a student, so that's why I try to do part-time. So
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to assess that because so right now they're having you work full-time hours, but you signed up for part-time. You really just have to take a stand for yourself. Do you know why they're working you so much? Is it because they're low-staffed, or is it because you have leadership qualities and they just keep layering more responsibility on you?
I'm actually not sure. When it comes to staff, they've been hiring nonstop, so it seems like they have plenty of workers, but they always have me working these full hours. So I'm actually not sure why.
Okay. So finding out the why is always going to be an important piece of negotiating. Okay. But number one, we know that you, A, cannot afford to work full-time hours because of all your other commitments and passions. We know number two, you don't want to work full-time at this movie theater. So you have to really step in there and be your best advocate. Go in there, negotiate it down, right? Because you didn't sign up for that. My bet, my hunch, and I'm just putting this out there, I think they're giving you so much responsibility because they've come to depend on you, and perhaps you're a good leader. You get things done. They know that you're dotting your I's, you're crossing your T's. And they've other people there too to be bodies and people that contribute and other team players. But my hunch is that they depend on you. But you just need to take that leadership that they see in you and apply it to your own life. Say, you know what? I've really enjoyed this opportunity and I don't want to go anywhere. In fact, I want to stay plugged in, and this is the ideal days and hours I can afford to work. And, if I can ever add more hours, I will. But I have other passions and school commitments, and I need to make sure that those don't fall between the cracks. And you're not asking them, you're kind of telling them, this is how it's going to go down, right? But you have to be prepared that they could let you go. But even if they did let you go, which I don't think they will, But if they did let you go, I have a hunch that you would find other jobs that you could do to fill that spot. So I want you to step out there and take control of your life. And, you know, there's a new sheriff in town, and he's not working full time, right?
Right.
Right? Can you do that?
Right, yeah.
Yes, you can. Okay.
For me.
That's it. No more full time. We're done with that. That's right. So you got to go out there and you got to tell them. Take the initiative, be that leader, and design your life the way you want it. Okay? But thank you so much for calling in, and let us know how it goes. And thank you for calling. And for everybody else listening, stay with us, because it's all about rebuilding your life, designing it the way you want. Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, and we'll be right back with David Hoffman. Stay tuned.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar.
I
was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about rebuilding your life. But how do you know where to start sometimes, right? It seems so dark and dim when we're in the moment, when everything is being lost around us. But there is light at the end of that tunnel. And sometimes it takes inspiring guests like David Hoffman today, who I've brought to the show, to give us some words of wisdom to find that light. Because when we're in the moment, that darkness, that stress, we almost forget that it can even be possible to be happy again, to even rebuild our life, but it is possible. So I'd very much like to welcome documentary filmmaker David Hoffman to the show. Hello, David.
Hello, Nancy. Do you hear me okay?
I hear you perfect. Yes, I do.
I think you're a little bit low. If you could turn the volume up on your whatever.
Oh, okay.
I'm not hearing you as loud as I need to.
Oh, gosh. Okay. We'll do that on our team on the side. But we're going to proceed ahead, but I'll try to talk as loud as I can for you.
Oh, now I hear you fine. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. So if you kind of take our audience back a bit, because in 2008, life was going along really good. You had a wife, expecting a baby, you had a home, a job you enjoyed, but it all came crashing down when your house caught on fire. Can you share with us the environment of that day?
So, it's true. Life goes along until it doesn't, as many of your listeners might know. So I go off to work for the day at Google. I was a consultant to Google at that time, go over the hill, look down from the top of the mountain in Santa Cruz, going over to the Silicon Valley, and I see smoke. And then my wife calls and says, our house is burning. And she screams it, and I turn around on Route 17, the really bad road in California, and I drive recklessly fast back to my house. It takes me about an hour, and by the time I get there, I pass fire trucks along the way, by the way. The house is burning. All of my things are burning, and I had a huge archive of my films that I had made over almost 50 years, and all kinds of collectibles, and, of course, my family stuff like everyone else. And there I am looking at this fire. My wife's okay. Kids are okay. And it's gone. I mean, in 30 minutes. Gone. Just like these people are experiencing in California. Isn't there anymore. So I had this epiphany, maybe coming from my youth and things my mother used to say, like, you got to make something good out of something bad. And I said, well, I'm going to make something good out of this. Right there to my wife at that time, standing in front of the burning house. She thought I was crazy on the one hand, but intrigued on the other hand. What does this guy mean? So that was what happened. That's my day, that day.
Wow. You know, David, to be the head of the household, you have to be strong. You're the father, you're the husband, and here you are saying such positive words that you're going to make something positive out of this. But that was all your work, burning, melting. And boy, you really learned quickly that film melts quickly. And
yes.
When you started to... When the fire had kind of subsided and you started to assess what was left, what I think is so interesting is you started to look at the burned items with a new sense of clarity and a new vision of beauty. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, of course, that's completely oddly relevant, Nancy, when you look at the fires burning in Northern California and you see that fire was so hot that people have literally nothing, not even a fragment of a memory. In my fire, it was an ordinary house fire, whatever that is, and there were these fragments all around the property. So I asked neighbors to come and help me pull out the fragments. And we went through every piece of fire, as they're doing now, and we pulled out little pieces of things and put them around on the lawn around my house, and so I could look at them one more time. And what I saw were two things. One, there was beauty in burned objects. Beauty, as long as there was something remaining, a piece of the pottery, a part of the photograph, a piece of the book. And also I noticed that the memory that I had was just as strong with the piece as with the object. But I had to record it. If I didn't record it to the next generation and the generation after that, the book that I had collected or the photograph I had or the piece of film I had would have no meaning. Just looked like a piece of burned something. So I began to record the memories so that somebody would remember why I collected these things. And the other thing I noticed, strange but true, was that I had lived with these things in some cases for, 30 years. And they had given me so much pleasure that I felt they had given me the pleasure and that it wasn't so horrible that I didn't have that pleasure anymore. And I could get another pleasure, but not that one. I had had it for a long time. It had given me that little moment of memory. So if I could just record it, so I still have a storage closet, Nancy, with hundreds of burned things in it. Doesn't cost me that much to keep, but every once in a while I go over there, and the memories come flooding into my mind in a way which I think every one of your listeners will know. There's this pleasing moment of reliving something, unless it was a bad, painful memory, and even then it's interesting.
Right. And it is interesting because you had to rebuild your life. You had to start over. And have you become more of someone who does hold on to things, treasures them, even protects them? Or have you become a person who really likes more of a simple life, kind of cleanses things out of your system and out of your home?
Well, Nancy, I think there are two kinds of people in the world, collectors and not. My wife is not a collector. She does not understand people who just store stuff, boxes of stuff, drawers of stuff. She just doesn't get it. She would live in a house with a single painting on the wall, maybe changing it from time to time, and maybe some objects. But the average home in America, this is kind of interesting, has 195 things. So people keep things. They like things. Oftentimes they keep them but don't look at them. But collectors like me can't help myself. So what I found was that I couldn't go back and recollect what I had collected. That era was gone. The era of my youth in New England, buying things that were from the 1800s, that's gone now. I couldn't do it again. So what would I collect as an inveterate collector? That's really an interesting question. The antique shops that I used to go to as a boy and as a young man, they don't exist anymore in the same way. Of course, things change. So I'm these days collecting, this is really funny, clips that I make, little videos, cell phone videos of memories and of things that I like, and those are my clips. In other words, I shot it just like millions of your listeners do.
Yeah, it's a new way. It's a new way of storing information and gathering it and protecting it. And this is exactly, David, where I want to stop before we go into the break, because you're taking us right where I want to go with this interview. So if you will just stay with us, okay? I love where you're going. And for everybody listening, we're talking about rebuilding your life, but, treasuring the moments and the items along the way. So stay with us. It's all about living our life full out. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about rebuilding our life after a fire. In the case of our guest today, David Hoffman, and his house burning down, or maybe in your life, you're going through a financial challenge or heartbreak. Just know that you can get past this time. You have the ability to rebuild your life. Sometimes you just have to look at a situation, a moment in time, differently, kind of make that switch. And our guest today, David Hoffman, was able to make that switch after watching his home burn down, all his memorabilia gone, his life, work gone, but yet he looked at it with a positive frame of mind. And, what can I do with these items? How can I document the rest of my life and move forward? So I'd like to welcome David back to the show.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi. Now, in our last segment, we ended where you were starting to talk about how you now have started documenting things differently. Audio, video, more of that form. But I think it's really interesting because in your career, and maybe you can just give us a few examples of the work that you've done, you built your life around interviewing other people, their stories. And all of a sudden, what this fire brought out in you was for you to step out there and for the first time really tell your story. And I think that's so fantastic because it took a fire for you to put yourself in front of the camera. Can you tell us about that?
That is absolutely true. I am one of those people, like many people listening to your show, who really didn't find my own story all that interesting. It's interesting, but I don't spend my time on it. But other people's stories, I found if I asked the right questions and I provoked the right kind of thinking, I heard incredible stories of all kinds all my life as a filmmaker, thousands of interviews. But this moment provoked me to feel that I had to leave legacy. Legacy. That is so interesting when you pass the age of, let's say, 40 and you have kids. Or even if you don't have kids or you have close family members. Legacy. What is it? Most people leave their asset, money, which absolutely means nothing. It doesn't carry any values. It doesn't tell the new generations anything. Sometimes little bits and pieces like photographs, or maybe, if you're lucky, sort of a diary or a photo album. Remember that. But that, I find, after all these years of doing this, is meaningless. If you look on eBay, middle-class people are selling all kinds of stuff they don't have to sell because the 2 generations down, it meant nothing, like a photo album. This is Grandma going to Yosemite. Well, so what? So I asked myself, well, what is a meaningful legacy? And I knew a fair amount about this because I had recorded so many people. And what is it that the next generations wanted? Well, they wanted values. What did you care about? What did you struggle with? What did you suffer with growing up as a teenager? What did you learn that might help somebody who isn't alive yet and is going to see this thing generations later? And we have, right now, the most amazing technology in my lifetime, maybe other than the internet and television, and that's the cell phone video. I turn the thing on myself. Doesn't matter if you're a good talker. Doesn't matter what you look like. It only matters what you're sharing with the future, your future, the future that goes beyond you. And what I do is I call the cell phone a future box. I don't speak to the present. I speak to the future. I speak to people who don't exist yet. Well, what was important, not the street that I lived on, but a single teacher who said a single thing that changed my life might affect somebody generations later who's having problems growing up, 16 years old, not fitting in. Boy, everybody knows what that feels like. I remember when I was doing this series on the 1960s for PBS, and I thought I would ask people the question, well, did you have an easy time in your teenage life? Because I thought, growing up in the 1950s, that I was miserable as a teenager, but I thought most other people were, quote, unquote, normal. Well, it turned out that every person I interviewed, that was 180 people, felt uncomfortable as a teenager, and everybody felt they weren't normal. Well, that taught me
we're all very similar, right? I mean, we have the similarities. And I really love that, David, that you're bringing this up, and I'll just share with you and our community here that, you know, when my father passed away 8 years ago now, my sister did something that was so smart. She ran quickly and she recorded his company voicemail. She made sure that as he was getting sicker due to brain cancer, that she saved every voicemail that he left. I wasn't so on that. I was busy working and doing my thing. But what I've started doing is taking a recorder, and when I go see family, I'll record. Not that they don't know I'm not recording, but I'll record us playing a board game because I want to hear the conversation. I want to hear people's laughter. And so I think we've lost sight of family videos and, you know, saving conversations that are motivational between two people, or turning to our parents and say, you know, tell me about how you grew up. I think about that all the time, that now that my dad's passed, I want to interview my mom. So I think that you are bringing up such great examples for our audience to glean from. And you've really taken telling people's stories and now telling your own story to like the 10th power. Okay, if you guys want to go search David Hoffman on YouTube, okay, he's not shy. He really has become a friend with that camera. But what I applaud you is that I think we all have the ability to take something tragic. In your case, it was a fire and burned everything down around you. And you took that and you made it purposeful. You built
Let me
a
add to what you just said, Nancy, because it's great what you did. But I have an insight that I think will help everybody. And that is, it's all in the audio. It's not in the video. How many people have gone on a skiing vacation and filmed skiing going down the hill? Boy, is that boring. That's looked essentially the same for 100 years. Maybe the skis have changed in the clothing, but there's nothing there. On the other hand, the audio, what did people say around the table? Just putting up the cell phone on one of those little plastic tripods. And doesn't matter how good the picture is. You're not looking for a close-up of everybody. You're looking to hear the dialogue. I have a video which has, I'd say, 600,000 or 700,000 views on my YouTube channel. And all it is people talking in the street in 1979. That's all it is.
Wow.
You cannot believe how many people today are fascinated by changes in the way we speak, in what we speak like, and similarities. So I completely agree with you, the brilliance of your sister to record voicemail, just voicemail.
I know. And those simple things we could all do today. Now, I want to ask you a question, though, David, because for you, it was the fire and burning down your house. For me, my biggest thing has probably been going legally blind, and everybody's got their story, everybody's got their thing. But I'm wondering with you, if you could go back in time and that fire never happened and you had all your belongings back, would you trade that?
No, absolutely not. I think that I gained enormously from that experience, and I have more wisdom than I did. This is true of all the difficult experiences, but let's look at something else, Nancy, not to be forgotten. Good experiences. What people tend to do is they're traumatized and traumatized by bad experiences, but they forget that every single moment, pretty much, good experiences are going on in the midst of difficult times. And I use the example, some guy wrote in the 1920s that he said, money doesn't make you happy, for sure, because we know a lot of rich people, as I do, who aren't happy at all. Lives are completely messed up. Health doesn't make you happy. Only one thing seems to work, and that's attitude. And that's what your whole show is about, which is why I support your show myself, is that attitude. You can change the attitude inside yourself, and all of a sudden something bad begins to look good. You can see synergies, opportunities, possibilities, just by attitude. Wow.
I completely agree.
And I'm cold in bed, and I got to put my socks on. What can I do with that? What attitude can I change to make it kind of interesting?
You know what? I think you just touched on something that everybody can do. That's so easy to just, it doesn't have to be like you're optimistic, positive, rah, 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 but just to make that slight switch of it's going to be okay. I'm going to try. Life is good. Just a little bit of a switch. I want to ask you, David, before we have to round out the interview today, we are talking about rebuilding our lives, and everybody's going to have different situations, tragedies, crises, you name it. But what are your words of advice for somebody listening today who just feels on their knees? They're afraid that it's not going to ever get better. What words of advice do you have for them?
I'll tell you the truth. And the truth is odd, but stupidly simple, which is, if you believe, as I do, that everything is happening for a reason, the question is, what's the reason? It's not just enough to believe that, and some people don't believe that. They think everything is just sort of an accident, but it doesn't appear that way to me in life. And if everything is happening for a reason, it's simple to find the reason. If I even fool myself by changing my attitude to something positive, things pop up that I didn't see before. Because I think everybody sort of knows in their heart, even if they can't live it, that all around us is great stuff. Great stuff in the midst of even horror. Moments that are extraordinary, things to see that are interesting. Changes in the sun and the light and the weather and the air and the water. Smile.
I would agree with that completely. And it's a domino effect, right? Because I can tell you, David, I have a feeling for the weeks to come, I'm going to be saying, yeah, I was talking to David Hoffman Well, let me tell you, I was talking to David Hoffman, right? We all have the ability to, it's like a domino effect, to inspire the next person with our words. So we are all, gosh, I could talk to you for hours, David, but we're running out of time. I just really thank you so much for being on today's show. And, check out David Hoffman online, everybody. His, documentaries are excellent. And thank you for inspiring our audience.
Well, if you go to my YouTube channel, thank you, Nancy, and you search the word fire on my YouTube channel, a 1-hour film will come up on how I overcame that fire that I'm very proud of. It's the only movie I've ever made on me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And David, we wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm with those socks. And everybody will be coming back, taking your calls. Again, it's all about rebuilding our life. And that's how we live full out. So stay with us. We'll be taking your calls right after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. It's the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human. And she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait, hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? Pew, pew. What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm place on a cold day.
Football
I want to be
stadium.
a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When holding on to things and clenching onto our past, it is hard to rebuild our life. But when you look towards the future, when it's like turning a page, knowing that you get to write your story, you can design your life the way you want. That's when it's not the pressure of rebuilding your life, but the excitement of being able to put together the life that you desire.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about rebuilding our lives. And I got to tell you, I know that people have different scenarios that we go through, and I see it, I hear it all the time in social media, the callers that call in, and even in the emails I get from clients. So you don't want to be held back by disappointments, regrets, what's lost. You don't want to walk around life feeling as though you're a victim, that you no longer have certain valuables. But you want to look forward, because we really can't take those awards with us, our money with us, right? It's not about that. It's about those memories. So when we were talking to David Hoffman, our previous segment, about recording, having audios of people talking, friends and family near you, I encourage you all to do that today. Start looking at not the objects or the items in your life as treasured values, but kind of taking a mental snapshot, like looking at a picture, smiling, remembering what it is like, what it was like to be there in the moment, and that's what you can hold on to, not the actual tangible photo. I know in my own life, I've had to look back at a lot of people that I've lost, and the breakup of my family due to a divorce, so many different transitions. And when I went through those transitions, it would have been so easy to go, gosh, I'm growing up without a father, or now I'm growing up without eyesight. But just like David Hoffman said in the last segment, the attitude we have, the outlook, our ability to say, okay, that happened, but that's not going to be dictating my destiny. And we don't want to walk around like we have a label on us, divorced single mom, or blind woman, or whatever it is that you feel that you've gone through. Sometimes we do wear it like a badge of honor, but I want you to take that badge off, and I want you to say, you know what? That negative experience doesn't serve me. Concentrating on it, focusing on it, telling people over and over about that story, it doesn't work for you. Let it go. Release it. Take that positive attitude into your future, and that is how you rebuild your life. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hello, thank you for calling in.
I'm hoping you can help me with some advice,
Yes.
kind of at wit's end. My daughter went away to college this year and is having a terrible time budgeting the money that we give her. She's basically tearing through cash, and despite repeated warnings to slow down, nothing seems to change. So any suggestions you may have would be greatly appreciated.
Well, I don't know how it was for you growing up, but I remember those days, right? Back when we first started college, we had to put together that budget. I think I budgeted $10 a day back in the day. And so is it a daughter or son that you have?
A daughter.
A daughter. Okay. I think sometimes the best thing you can let somebody do is experience a certain level of pain. Because if you're there to help her out and constantly give her more money, she's not going to know the value of what it's like not to have it. So I'm not saying that you can't be there as a backup. I'm not suggesting that she goes into financial ruins over the whole thing. But sometimes as we grow up, we have to feel a certain level of pain. We have to feel the pain of, oh my gosh, what if I don't pay this bill? We have to experience a late fee. and the extra charge of that. Some people have had to experience having their electricity turn off. Shoot, I should have paid that bill, right? And so it's certain experiences, even though they're hard and sometimes they can make a little ding on our credit, sometimes we need to experience that in an effort to not devalue what people give us, like you're giving her money, or the value of money overall. Does she have a job?
She's been wanting to get a job, and, we'd really like her to focus on her studies at this point. So it's not I think a laziness or anything like that. It's more an ability to like you say, budget and control her expenditures and be responsible.
Well, what you might do is you might have her take one semester where she does take less classes and does get a job. Because I just think that if she were to make her own money, even at a part-time job, the actual work that goes into making that check and cashing that check and knowing that she earned it, give her out of that check, give her a couple of bills that she has to pay with it. She has to cover these bills. Sometimes the school of life can teach you way more than a textbook. Just something to think about. But I applaud you. You're a great father for calling in, and keep us posted on how it goes. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in. Absolutely.
Yep.
And for everybody listening today, it's all about rebuilding our life, and sometimes we have to feel that pain in order to value life, value money, value our belongings. But also it's about looking ahead and knowing that we have the ability to reclaim our life, just design it a little bit differently. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. We have Rich and Aaron and Camille and Nina, Raj, you name it, Riley, the list goes on. We're all dedicated to you living your life full out. Check us out at livingfullout.com to hear this episode and all of our episodes again. Thank you for listening, and we'll be seeing you soon. Here's to you living full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.